so you can't focus on mining and get ahead and start getting resources. You can't get ahead and get metal producing level 2 here for 26 days because you're not allowed to be a miner. You're not allowed to be a smither. You're not allowed to be.
But here's the thing: it's like what he because he didn't delve deep enough into the game. Like he doesn't know now that, like, let's say for example, but he's looking at mining and smelting, right? So let's use that as an example. I found out just by playing the game, even though my experience with the game has only been since like launch and till today, is that I find out that in order to be able to craft like the level 60 legendary gear, for example, I need level 29 smelting. So yes, like while metal producing level 2 and metal producing level 3 is time gated, you have to also realize that you actually have to level your smelting as well, and that is a grind in itself, and that is not gated, by the way. So smelting thing not gated. When you're mining things, when you're grabbing gems or you're harvesting like fruits or anything like that, there is a focused one where you get like extra drops and everything and certain materials that you can get through focus, and you can do that, and that consumes focus, which is your life skill thing, right? But there's also a non-focus option that you can actually do that does give you experience. And like, let's say for example, it's the same thing for like culinary, for example, too. It's like you can go fishing for the ingredients for your stuff, and fishing does not take focus.
There'll be girls across the nation that'll eat this up. Babe, I know that it's you, so but could you bottle it up? Get down to the heart of it. No, it's my heart. Your shit out of your life. Don't make me tell you again.
Yeah, it's crazy to me that somebody can have a full review of the game on day one when the game is time gated. I feel like that's an impossible thing to do, but we'll see. Yeah, we just started to grasp mid. We're barely in mid game, right? So let's watch this video. Let's watch this video because maybe he knows something that I don't. There you go.
Hi everyone, Mtashed here, and I feel like whenever I play a video game and I critique them, I end up getting cancelled because I recognize very quickly when a game is not worth my time and potentially not worth your time. I think that Blue Protocol Star Resonance is going to be one of those games because in the last 3.5 to 4 hours.
I think the whole like making it everybody else's, or trying to deflect into other people and trying to make it into like their fault, quote unquote, that you're getting canceled after, like, or getting complained about like every time you review a game, is probably the same behavior that I personally saw in that therapist video, the streamer, doctor or something. I forgot his name, with the Blizzard guy, the Blizzard streamer. It's like at some point you kind of have to realize like maybe I'm the problem a little bit.
That I've been playing the game, I'm not sure there's been one moment where I've had any even glimpse of fun. There hasn't been one moment.
Okay, I just said that, by the way. The first day I was bored. I thought it was the most underwhelming MMORPG launch I've ever had, and I said that to people in the very beginning when they were asking for my opinion. But again, this is why you should, as somebody who covers games, you need to give games a chance, and you need to actually like cover the game in depth enough to experience like what it has to offer. And especially in a time gated game, yes, time gates are generally frowned upon, and I don't like them myself. It's like you need to give the game a chance. You need to keep playing the game, and so you can actually get a full scope of the game instead of like giving such a strong opinion when you've only experienced like day one of the game, essentially, right? Because then you can't really blame people for calling you ignorant. You know what I mean?
Where I was challenged. There wasn't one moment where I was excited. There wasn't one moment where I thought, damn, this could be something. This is the most average or below average game I have played in a long time, and it is very similar to any other mobile, free-to-play, MMO, gacha-like experience that I've experienced.
That's actually false. Majority of the gacha-esque like MMORPG, mobile MMORPGs out there are absolutely, vastly worse than this. I've seen and covered mobile MMORPGs from like C companies and like Chinese companies that are complete dog. Blue Protocol is vastly better than those ones.
I played another game called Crystal of Atlan, and I reviewed it very harshly. This feels very similar overall to Crystal of Atlan. It does not seem like a MMO that I am ever going to want to play long term, and it is a already time-gated experience. I need to wait 15 hours. 30 minutes into playing, I was already time-gated from the main story quest. What I'm trying to do right now is see how long it takes me till I get locked out. I just want to get an idea of how long I can go. I'm already locked out! 17 hours, 18 minutes. I'm already locked out. And even though I was gated on the main story quest, then I thought, well, do you know what? I can start working on some of my skills. They've got regular skills in the game, but they've also got these like life skills that you can do. I can't even remember where I found that, but life skill, here we go. There's energy on the life skills, and you can only choose X amount of skills, and you can't grind them all out at the same time. They limit your progression, so even if you do these skills and you go mining or smelting or fishing or whatever you want to do, you can't actually take it up to the higher tiers for a week and then almost a month. You're not I just broke my chair. You're not you're not allowed to fully progress. The server has to be open for 7.
So here's another thing as to why you really, if you're gonna review an MMORPG or a game in general, that you really need to delve deep into it and to kind of like dive into it some more, is that like, yes, it is time gated. And again, I personally do not like time gating as well. But him describing this just kind of like shows his ignorance as well, because if you delve deep, if you delved a little bit deeper into it, he'll probably find out that once you do the weekly, for example, or you just keep doing the ones that don't require focus, that it actually is something that you can grind, right? Like there's actually a lot of things in the game, life skill wise, that do not use focus that actually give XP. Right? Is it a bit of a grind? Sure, absolutely. But then again, what's the point in being able to unlock everything on day 1 or week 1, right? It's not like it comes to any surprise, right? But again, this is the danger of trying to review a game before you're even sure about it. And I think somebody did this before as well. I think it was like with Throwing Liberty, that they just didn't really know. Or actually, no, it was Ragnarok 3. Somebody tried to do a review of Ragnarok 3 after playing it only for like a day, and which is fine usually if you label it as a first impression gameplay video. That's completely fine. But if you're going to make it into like a scathing, like brutal review, it's like you need to make sure that you delve deep into these MMORPGs, because this feels like he just wanted to be one of the first ones to release. And I get it, as a YouTuber, he just wanted to be one of the first ones to release a review video of the game, and to get to kind of like farm those views, which again, as a YouTuber, I completely understand it, but like, is it respectable? I don't think so. And that's the problem, because then now you just sound ignorant, because like because you didn't delve deep enough into the game, you actually now do not know that there are a lot of life skill things that you can do without focus. And it's just it just makes you look really bad, because now you're just yapping, and and people are looking at this who have actually played the game, and they're just like, this guy does just not know what he's talking about. And well, the unfortunate part is that like, we also, as like MMORPG or game content creators, we also have to be responsible, right? Because at the end of the day, it's like we have to understand that we wield a certain amount of authority when it comes to how we put out reviews in the game. Like, our reviews of the game will dictate whether a game, like an X amount of people from our audience will get to try the game out, and it directly, and all of that all together across like multiple content creators, affects like the health of the game. And if the game actually is like good, or at least like decent, and we're doing it at a disservice, then that's just, I don't know. I just feel like that's it just feels wrong to me, right? Like, in terms of like contributing negatively to the health of that game because of an ignorant review that I made, right? For example. But yeah, I think that everybody has kind of needs to have that, right? Like, if you think about it, it's like, if a food reviewer is saying something is is kind of like putting out a review and they're saying like, oh man, this place sucks, like food doesn't taste good, yada yada, all that service was bad, and then I go over there and the service was actually good, or like the food was actually amazing, then I'm just like, that guy has no idea what he was talking about, or maybe he was just having a bad day, right, or something like that. um and he just decided to take it out on like the game or the restaurant or something like that, right? So it's something that you kind of have to consider when you're doing these reviews, is that you need to make sure that like if you're a food reviewer, you kind of want to taste everything in that place and decide whether you review something negatively or positively. And it's the same thing with games as well. It's like you need to make sure that you taste everything in there before you start making a review, right? And it's like, yeah, it's just certain things like that that would affect your credibility as like as a content creator. At the same time, it also, you have to realize you have to be responsible as well, because you could directly affect a game's health by dissuading people from playing it when you barely even like scratch the surface, like the surface of the game.
Days, so you can't focus on mining and get ahead and start getting resources. You can't get ahead and get metal producing level 2 here for 26 days because you're not allowed to be a miner. You're not allowed to be a smither. You're not allowed to be.
But here's the thing: it's like what he because he didn't delve deep enough into the game, like he doesn't know now that, like, let's say for example, but he's looking at mining and smelting, right? So let's use that as an example. I found out just by playing the game, even though my experience with the game has only been since like launch and till today, is that I find out that in order to be able to craft like the level 60 legendary gear, for example, I need level 29 smelting. So yes, like while metal producing level 2 and metal producing level 3 is time gated, you have to also realize that you actually have to level your smelting as well, and that is a grind in itself, and that is not gated, by the way. So smelting thing not gated. When you're mining things, when you're grabbing gems or you're harvesting like fruits or anything like that, there is a focused one where you get like extra drops and everything and certain materials that you can get through focused, and you can do that, and that consumes focus, which is your life skill thing, right? But there's also a non-focus option that you can actually do that does give you experience. And like, let's say for example, it's the same thing for like culinary, for example, too. It's like you can go fishing for the ingredients for your stuff, and fishing does not take focus. And the other thing too is that, like, let's say like if you're wanting to get like meat, for example, as something that you want to have for your culinary, you can actually hunt mobs for it, like the boars and everything will give you the meat, right? So that's another thing as well. And if you really want to take it to the next level and really want to grind life skills, you could actually also, like I did, you can make alts to do specific life skilling as well, and you can min max that way. So like, yes, the metal producing level 2, metal producing level 3 is time gated, but the prerequisite for you to be able to be able to smelt, like eventually, like in the next 7 days, you're not going to be able to reach level 29 in 7 days. Then what you need to realize is that the grind is still there. You need to grind that anyway. So realistically, all the game is doing here, and again, while I generally hate time gating, I have to admit in this certain circumstance where it actually works out, the game is actually telling you basically like, hey, don't worry about this thing right now because you need to level this right now still. Because it doesn't matter if you can get this right now and you can get the quote unquote the materials for them, right? Like the cobalt to be able to craft a level 60 legendary gear. It doesn't even matter because you need level 29 smelting. And that's the thing. It's that you don't know these things unless especially as a reviewer, you don't delve deep enough into the game itself to know these things. I didn't know these things, and I learned it throughout the course of my playtime because, again, if I'm going to make a review about the game, I actually want to delve into the game. If I want to make an end game review of the game, I actually want to delve into the end game of the game, into the systems like this one right here. If he was only doing a first impression gameplay, that's completely fine. First impression gameplay reviews are also a niche like thing, and people want to see them as, like, again, your first impression of the game. But he's delving into and complaining about the time gating of the game and not understanding why it actually works in this circumstance. And again, you can't really learn that if you don't delve into the game or play it. And that's essentially what happened to him, right? Like that's essentially what's happening here. And now he's kind of looking really ignorant because he doesn't know what he's talking about. Because again, he hasn't delved into the game enough, right? And I think as a reviewer, you need to be thorough about these things.
The king of culinary and spend your time.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Maybe his target audience is casual players, but that's the thing. Casual players can play this game without looking at his review and find out these things for themselves because they don't care too much about the time gating because they're casual. You know what I mean?
Grinding this up to make the best food to push dungeons down the road. You're not allowed to play the game, essentially. There's so much time gating that I'm seeing already that I just don't want to play. I don't want to log in and do daily logins and those FOMO gotcha mechanics in order to retain me. I want you to retain me because I want to play the game. Now, I want to talk about something very quickly.
I will say, personally, I have not felt any type of FOMO with the gacha in the game. Mostly because the fact that in order to make them, you need to craft them still, right? So I'm not in any rush. Like I don't want to have. I have a Tina right now, but I don't care like if I got it or not.
Because I think this is a very important thing. I'm just going to go to the Stereo Plains. I'm just going to jump in here and teleport in. You can do regular battling. And if you're doing some sort of endgame content where you actually need to dodge, there are opportunities where you actually need to put in effort in combat. But 99% of the gameplay that I have done so far, fighting enemies, is so easy, is so boring. I know that this is like a level 1 mob. I'm level 20. I know. But the mobs...
I think this is where the PC MMORPG, the mobile MMORPG, and the mobile PC and the PC MMORPG like perspective comes in, is that you're expecting PC MMORPG levels of difficulty when you shouldn't be. And the thing is, like, you can't really expect high level difficulty in a beginner area. In day one of a launch, bro. You just can't, man. It's like, bro, how many times did people wipe at like Tina's Madness before they finally got the mechanics and then cleared it, right?
Barely attack you. They barely even approach you. You can kill them so quickly. And pressing these buttons on trash mobs that repeatedly don't do damage. I'm going to go to a higher level area so people don't complain. I'm going to go here. This is a higher level area. This is actually higher level than me. If I run up to some mobs and I start attacking them, they barely do anything. Now that boss will one-shot me because I'm not supposed to be here. But these basic mobs, this is a level 16 mob, I'm level 20, whatever. They don't really do anything. And by the time they start approaching you, they're so slow. They're so slow that it's just...
It's a level 16 area, by the way. He's level 20.
Not fun. It is not a fun game. And you can also auto battle. And when you auto battle, I walked away for 15 minutes. I went and checked on my kids. I went and made a...
He's grinding level 13 mobs. He's stat checking these mobs so hard.
Sandwich. I had a little drink of water. I took a poop. And I came back and I had almost full health. Gamers, I stood in the middle of an area where they were respawning constantly. It was
It's not Imothrel. That's the thing.
impossible to die. And I understand that maybe because it's like a mobile game, they want it to be casual or somewhat accessible. When it's this blatantly boring and almost impossible to die, like anyone who had a brain could dodge these attacks and not take damage. But like, if it was more engaging, if I had some fun, I wouldn't be dunking on it as hard as I am. But this is... I don't think you can consider this a video game.
That's an extreme take. You can't consider this a video game.
I genuinely don't think you consider it a video game because it is so autoplay and or the ability to autoplay is there.
But here's the thing, right? It's like he's fighting low level mobs, bro.
And it is so easy, you might as well, because pushing buttons and getting carpal tunnel, for no benefit is just not worth it. You might be thinking, okay, well, Mtashed, I think you're being.
But that again, this is why when I said the coming into this game, seeing it as a mobile PC MMORPG versus just a PC MMORPG is very important because you need perspective. So the thing is, like, if you look into this game with a mobile centric like perspective, then you won't be disappointed, right? So let's take for example like RO3. Ragnarok Online 3 was, was advertised as like the successor to Ragnarok 1, right? So that's why we went into that with the expectation of it being mostly this this PC MMORPG, and that's why we're disappointed that it is having those mobile elements, right? So that's one of the reasons why we are currently trying to fight that in that game. But this game in particular, Blue Protocol Star Resonance, never really hid the fact that it was designed as a mobile PC MMORPG, and I think that if you're reviewing it, you need to review it from that lens because perspective is important when you're doing these reviews, right? It's like you're not going to to a food truck and reviewing it from the lens of a 5-star restaurant. You wouldn't do that, right? So like that's why perspective is like really important, right? So you're saying like, wow, man, for food from a food truck, this is really amazing, right? But then, if you're trying to review that food from like the lens of a 5-star restaurant, you're gonna be like, it lacks like a certain amount of layer to the palate, yada, yada, all this bullshit. You know what I mean? Like that's the power of perspective. You need to understand the product that you're reviewing first and review it for what it is instead of like reviewing it from a whole different like perspective. That's the whole point of it, right? Again, but that's the perfect the best example I can kind of like give you guys in terms of like an analogy is that, again, you don't review a food truck vendor with 5-star restaurant standards. You know what I mean? So
Like too savage on it. Let me just show you something really quickly. I'm gonna pull up my stream. I'm gonna pull up my stream from earlier today, and I'm gonna show you a fight. We just did this fight a little while ago. Here we go. There's me reacting to it. This fight actually had some mechanics in it.
that said normal, by the way. He's doing a normal dungeon. He's doing the introduction.
All right? This fight actually had some mechanics in it. You had to jump across this lightning. This was the only moment in 4 hours that I was like, do you know what? Maybe I would have a little bit of fun if it was a little harder. But it was impossible to die. The healers heal me so much that even if I do get hit, I don't think it's possible to die. If I sit in every single attack, I let the boss attack me, I cannot die. There is no risk. There's no threat. What is the point?
When the dungeon has a normal and hard mode open, if you think that normal is too easy, you go to the hard one. You don't play the normal one and it's like, this is too easy, this is all the game has to offer. No, bro, there's a literal hard one and there's a master one that you can't even access yet. Normal and hard are open. Leave this normal dungeon and play a hard one.
It does like 400 damage. My healers instantly heal me up. I have a.
By the way, this is the normal dungeon is meant. I found this out just by playing the game, because again, if you want to make a review, you need to delve into the game. I found this out by essentially playing the game that normal dungeons are like a mini introduction to the boss's like mechanics. And then when you get into the hard mode part of the game or of the dungeon is when you really have these these long wipes, right? Like these like wipes, that dungeon runs that would take you like 20 minutes, 30 minutes to complete before you can even like finish it at first or until you understand the mechanics. And again, that's just the hard one. There's a master difficulty as well.
Summon that comes in that instantly heals me up. It is just like brainless. And so standing in the circle, I can auto battle this boss and auto heal. And so there's no threat. There's no like insane moments. There's like, oh, there's a big flashing thing you need to dodge. Who cares? Literally, who cares? I don't need to dodge it because it can't kill me. And you could argue, well, Mtashed, that's because this is the level 1 dungeon. This is the basic dungeon. Well, I'm not doing the basic dungeon for 200 hours to get to level 60 to do something that might kill me.
You don't. You go to the hard one.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not playing this game for 300 hours. I'm not gonna play an MMO for a month where nothing can do any damage to me. There's time gating on fishing. There's time gating on mining. There's time gating on story quests. Everything in this game feels like a mobile gacha game. And there's all sorts of cosmetics and things to buy and monthly cards and battle passes. And I just look at it all and go, where's the gameplay? You guys.
Why is bro complaining about MMORPG having a cosmetic store?
Spent all of this time making all of this stuff, all of these systems, all of these UI things, but I'm not allowed to play the game. I'm not allowed to mine anymore.
Yeah, you are. You would know that if you actually played the game.
I'm not allowed to do this anymore because of time gating. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, what?
Yeah, this is 100% like rage bait content.
I want to play your game. I want to enjoy the combat. I want to explore. Oh, what's that? You're not allowed to explore? Yeah, you're not allowed to explore. You actually can't progress to multiple areas. Now, I think if you interact with these, Statue of the Hero, I haven't unlocked this. Like, I think maybe it gets rid of the fog, but I've
He doesn't even know that it gets rid of the fog yet. Okay.
already been to multiple areas while exploring that said, you're not allowed to go here yet. You're not allowed to go here yet. Even if it's too high level, like, I understand, like, hey, if there's level 90 enemies I shouldn't be fighting.
Bro. 1, 2, 3, 4. He hasn't unlocked any, like, 4 fogs besides the beginner area. And he's complaining already about not being able to explore. So in terms of like high level areas, we have to realize. Look at the top right here, but here. Let me put that down. Put my face down here, okay? Look at the top right area right here. This is Windhowl Canyon. By the way, that's where all the that's where the level 50 plus to 60 like level 60 bosses are already, and the mobs as well. He hasn't even explored this area as well, which have higher level mobs than he's used to. And he obviously hasn't gone through this yet too and get to the higher level areas. Right? He can't really go into these other areas right now because like all of the bosses besides like maybe 2 are already unlocked in this map and in the next map after. So again, that's why when you want to make a review of the game, you want to delve into it. So you don't sound ignorant like this guy.
Them yet. That's cool. But like I like to make that mistake on my own. It just feels like they're calling it an MMO without MMO features. Now, there's
has combat, has skills, has classes, has progression, vertical progression, has dungeons. Sure, it doesn't have PvP, has explorations. You could discover like certain areas. Has a lot of exploration advantage as well with like the treasure chest and everything. It has MMO features. Has like a really good like social aspect with like guilds, parties, raids, events, timed events, right? Even like random spawn events like the silver and gold Napo and boars. Random events like that, and like rare events like the lovely and the breezy boars that spawn like at certain times. Has like life scaling professions, and even though he says he's limited, he actually isn't limited. You are time gated at certain like higher advanced ones, yes, but at the same time, there's no point in you trying to go into that anyway because you need to grind and you need to level your life skills anyway, which the game doesn't stop you from doing. So, you know what I mean? But again, this is the danger of making a review when you haven't even delved into the game, and that's why you didn't see me release my review of the game so far after like day 1, day 2, or day 3, because like again, I just knew for a fact that I haven't delved deep enough into the game, and certain features that I wanted to check out first weren't even like available in the game first, and I wanted to check that out before I did a review for the game, right? But then this right here is just essentially the reason why I do that is because I didn't want to look like this.
There's apparently an economy. There is a trading thing. You can trade some items. There's like unbound currency, and there's bound currency, and you can exchange for these things, and you can actually trade for some items, and you can trade for like food items, and there is a bit of an economy in trading, but I just don't know. I can't even really comment on the level of this. But when I see stuff like this, it's like, okay, well, that's good. An MMO needs some.
Yeah, he has done the same thing with other games. I mean, it's more power to him if he wants to like look ignorant, right? But that's on him, right? But honestly, I don't see. Sure, you might get the views, but you lose so much credibility. That is it really worth it in the long run? But again, that's up to him, right? I'm not gonna assume like I know better than him because obviously he's a much bigger content creator than I am. That's sounds around. Thank you for the follow, man. Appreciate you, brother. Yeah, as I searched BPS, scrolled for about 1 minute and didn't see this. Thank God. Appreciate you, Emothro.
Sort of economy, but I don't know how in depth this.
The comments are all in his favor, Sally. Well, it's because like there's a lot of doomers in the MMORPG space. You go to the MMORPG subreddit, like guess what? If you don't like their game or their MMO of choice that they're playing right now, you will get nothing but hate, regardless of what you say on there.
But at least seeing that, I'm like, okay, there's like an MMO feature I would care about, because in RuneScape,
I played the original BP. Everything was hard mobs. Yeah. But here's the thing, Sapphire. This is what I was talking about, right? It's like you need to look at this from the lens of a mobile PC MMORPG, not just a PC only MMORPG, because that's the thing. It's like you need to look at it from a specific lens and then judge it from that. You don't go into a food truck and judge it by 5-star restaurant like metrics. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? Like you get the analogy, right? It's like you don't go into like a street food vendor and then judge their food by 5-star restaurant standards. You know what I mean? So like when I'm playing, first of all, like I am a PC MMORPG a gamer through and through, right? But the thing is, because I know for a fact that this game was is a mobile PC MMORPG, I need to make sure that I judge it from that lens. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna judge it from the lens of a PC only MMORPG because it's never gonna win.
I can buy lobsters for 195 gold and sell it for.
Yeah, I'm not playing that mobile. Yeah, and that's the thing. You don't have to. You don't have to, right? But from my like judgment, from a mobile for a mobile PC MMORPG, it's not bad. It's not a bad game at all. Does it have like shit UI and all that stuff? Like, do I hate time gating? Sure, right? But those are my personal preferences. You know what I mean? But again, I have to judge this game as much as I dislike mobile PC MMOs, and would much rather prefer an MMO to be PC only, because then it doesn't get limited by the fact that it has a mobile side, right? Like I have to be objective about it. Like my personal preference and my personal opinion doesn't matter when I judge a game from a certain lens. If I judge a game if I judge a mobile PC only game, I'm gonna judge it from that lens, regardless of the fact that I prefer PC only MMORPGs. That's it. That's it. It's as simple as that. Like it doesn't get any more complicated than that. If you want to if you want to give like an objective review.
205 and I can make some profit and I can trade and I can make my way up there, and that's a mini game in a mini game. I can go craft a ruined scimitar and I can sell it for 35k on a free to play world. You know, like there was an
Wait, why is he complaining about basic economy in a game?
economy, and that's an important part of a game. And skilling was an important part of the game. But the problem is when you limit the ability to do those things with energy, you are now limiting that economy and the potential growth of that economy, and you can't be the guy that spends all his time mining.
But here's the thing, again, and again, I'm kind of like repeating myself here a little bit, but this is the danger. Again, this is the danger of not delving into the MMO and just prejudging it, because you absolutely could prep this in advance. Like, so here's the thing, it opens in 7 days, but you need level 29 smelting, and that takes a very, very, very long time of grinding to achieve, right? But that's the thing, the game actually doesn't stop you from grinding that specifically, so that you're probably and the thing is, like, you're probably gonna get that done by the time like not even like in 7 days, even like when that thing unlocks. So you're gonna get it unlocked, you're gonna get to that level after like a certain amount of time. And the thing is, like, your grind will be well worth it, because you're going to be one of the very few people probably that are able to craft these things, and you know, you weren't limited in doing that. You know what I mean? Like, you can't judge a life skill when you have 0 out of 2000 on both life skills and you're level 1. That means you haven't delved into it at all. I personally do not like life skilling at all. Like, I skip life skills in damn near every game I played, besides maybe like New World. But I know for a fact that if I want to judge life skilling in this game, I need to delve into it first. Because again, if you're giving a review and you want it to be objective, and you want it to be like something that is actually credible, then you absolutely need to delve into the game first.
And gets the crazy resources, for the guy that spends his entire time smithing to make the crazy armor, for the guy that's doing combat, that's trying to push the bosses, that then, do you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And you do that by grinding out the mining and the smelting. And do it by doing the option, if this guy actually went to a single node, he would then see that there are two choices. One that takes focus, that gives you like these extra loot of stuff that you can use to craft like the higher level stuff, right? And there is one choice where you don't have to use focus, and that gives you like all the basic stuff. And luckily for you, that is the same basic stuff that you can use to level up that type of life skilling. And you would know that if you actually try to delve into the thing itself, which is life skilling in this instance, before making this review, and then you don't look goofy on camera. You know what I mean? So, right? It's like and it's crazy because, like, just looking at it from this lens, like, you're seeing a guy review a life skilling system and he hasn't done a single one. 0 XP. Level 1. Not a single one. If I were to, if let's say, like, if one of you guys, let's say like Insurrection, so Insurrection, let's say Insurrection has a food stall. I see that he's selling barbecue, and I look at the barbecue, looks normal, it's whatever, it's like, and then I judge, I make a food review of his barbecue stall without even eating anything. There's a lot of things in the world that don't look appetizing that actually taste good. There's a lot of things, like, let's say like durian, for example. Like, there's a lot of things like that in the world that don't even smell that all that good, but you don't know the taste of it until you taste it. And apparently, with how durian is so popular in certain countries, obviously there are people whose palate fit that. And but you would never know that if you're one of those people, if you don't actually try it. And in this case, it's kind of like the same thing. 0 out of 2000, nothing done.
For the guy that's doing combat, that's trying to push the bosses, that then, do you know what I'm saying? When you time gate these things and there's a week or 27 days, you're not allowed to play the game how you want.
You were going to mention durian too, Yusaku? Yeah, but that's the thing, right? It's like, let's say, for example, I was like looking at a stall, I was like, oh, that stinks, man, that's gotta be horrible. That this stall on Yelp, this stall, 0 out of 5, has really shitty food. I didn't get to eat it, but it smelled bad, so it has to be da 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 da, right? It just makes you look ignorant. And then you're gonna see like people who like durian, for example, and was like, "Did you even try it?" And you're like, "Well, no."
Stops feeling like an MMO. It stops being the game that you want it to be. It's an on the rails MMO, in my opinion, and that just feels bad.
I have 50 hours is not getting better. All the dungeons can be done with autoplay. That's how I know you don't have 50 hours, Sapphire. You cannot do all the dungeons with autoplay.
I don't want to fight a boss. I want to mine for 100 hours.
You can mine for 100 hours.
And I want to sell all my stuff and I want to buy gear and
You can actually do that as well.
then I'll do a boss. You know what I'm saying? I should be allowed to do that, but you're not. And when I look at all the different systems and
Sapphire, you can't lie to me. You cannot auto it. They have one-shot mechanics. You actually have to do it.
everything I've experienced over the last 4 hours, nothing is making me want to keep playing. I don't care that some people have played on the other server and they've played in the betas and they fought the bosses and they got to level 60. The idea or the thought of getting to level 60 in this game is terrible.
I only stop it to dodge? Oh, so you didn't auto it. You actually had to do mechanics, so it wasn't auto. See, we can't be selective about these things. Like, you're either on auto, you either just full autoed it, or you didn't.
don't even want to do that.
Thank you for the follow, guys.
Sounds like a nightmare because I haven't had any fun. I don't think I'm going to start. I may be dunking on this too hard. But at the same time,
it's not about like dunking on something too hard or too soft, as long as you actually know what you're talking about.
there are so many good games out there that you can buy for $8 or $10. They're free games. There's so
There's games that you can buy for $3, $8. They're free games. I mean, if you're paying for it, it's not free, no?
many things that you can play other than this that it's very hard to recommend this. And maybe
Bro, you finished all Lost Ark raids. I'm happy for you, bro. Like, I'm sure you're proud of your achievements, and that's completely fine. But it has nothing to do with the topic at hand. Good for you, bro. I'm proud of you.
I will eat my words. Maybe I will be wrong about this. But I'm just going to guess here. I'm going to look it up right now on Steam. Blue Protocol Star Resonance. I'm just going to guess right now it's going to be, yep, there it is. Let's just bring this up on stream here so everyone else can see it. Mostly negative. 30% of
Okay, so here, and I'll counter that argument, right? So let's say that people at the very start who only played it for like a little bit, like no minimum, like a little over an hour even, right? Like, it's mixed, right? There's a lot of people that had the same, that kind of looked into this as a PC MMORPG were thoroughly disappointed by it, right? And that's fine, right? Like, if you're disappointed that it's not the PC MMO that you were expecting, that's completely fine, but that's not what it is. You have to judge it for what it is, which is a mobile PC MMO. And that's why once you go into like the over 10-hour playtime here, it goes from mixed to mostly positive. Because people have started to delve into the game a little bit deeper. You know what I mean? So like, the more that you delve into it deeper, the more you realize like, yeah, the game actually has its merits. The game actually does some things like really well. It does do some things like really horrendously, like UI, for example. But the more that people delve into this game, the game actually does have its merits, right? Like, for those of you that were here on day one when I started the game, what did I say? I said like, this is the most underwhelming MMO launch that I've ever played. I'm gated from my quest and all that, but you know what? That's my first impression of the game, and the review that I'm doing is not a first impression gameplay. So I'm completely, so I'm going to keep delving into the game, and I'm going to keep like looking at the game and diving deep into it and really looking at like the game from, again, a mobile PC MMORPG lens, and looking at these systems that they have and if they function well and they work well, and which they do. And so from that perspective, I can guarantee, like, is it the best PC mobile MMORPG out there? Absolutely not, right? But is it at least a decent one? I mean, you don't have to like take my word for it. Like it's mostly positive right now for anybody that played more than 10 hours. Right?
1,000 users have given this a positive review. This game is dog water. Okay.
Okay,
It's
wait,
a
no, no.
This game is
This game is Dogware 350 plus ping and OS. Actually, first of all, if you're an OS or C, you don't even you're not even supposed to have access to the game unless you VPN. So complaining about ping when it wasn't available in your region is kind of
dog water. Okay.
yeah. But look at the left side. Look at the right side. There's like positive reviews here as well.
Okay. It's a mobile game with auto walking and auto battling. If that
Yeah, and I don't. Here's the thing. It's like BP never really hid this. Again, you have to judge a game for what it is and what it says it is, right? It's like just because, like personally, like would I want this game to be a PC MMO only? Absolutely, because then it would not have the limitations of a mobile PC MMO. But why would I judge it from a PC MMORPG lens and complain about auto walking and auto battling when from the very start they never really pretended for it to be a PC MMO? They were very open about it being a mobile PC MMO.
that's for you, it might be good, but it's definitely not for me. First Quest introduced the cash shop and gave
And mind you, by the way, like I'm not sponsored at all, right? I'm not sponsored at all. Like I delved into this game, and admittedly, I was very much disappointed on like day one. But again, in order to make an objective review, I had to keep delving into the game, regardless of my own personal opinions. And you know that, wonderfully enough, like allowed me to see the good parts of the game.
gotcha coupons like every other gotcha slot game before it. Uh, there's a couple positive ones, but I have a feeling this game is going to be dead. And if this game is going to be dead, an MMO can't function properly. MMOs need players. It needs lots of players. And day one, there's people grouping up. This might be for you. But for me, these games just don't have what it takes to keep my attention. I think they're all poorly made.
Yeah, and that's completely fine to have your own personal opinion on it, and you're supposed to give your own personal opinion on it. But the thing is, like, you can't have a full MMORPG review and say that it's extremely disappointing when like you just expose yourself on camera that you were reviewing the life skill system when you haven't even mined a single piece of rock in the game. Because if you tried to, you'd find out that like there's two options: one that takes focus and one that doesn't take focus. And the one that doesn't take focus will actually give you materials that can level up your smelting, so that by the time that stuff opens up, you'll actually be ready.
And we had a very big discussion
And
about
it's also a bit of a grind, so there's not a lot of people that are doing it. So if you choose to grind that life skill, right, and because each life skill is a bit of a grind, so if you choose that life skill and you actually grinded that life skill, there's not going to be a lot of people that have access to that level, and you're going to be reaping the benefits of grinding that specific life skill, whether it's mining, whether it's smelting, whether it's like culinary, and you get to enjoy that. You get to reap the benefits of those, right?
this on stream. And it's exceptionally hard to make an MMO. It's exceptionally hard to make an MMO because there's so many things that need to go right. But one thing that you need to make right is I need to care about your world. And when it's a brand new
Yeah, but you haven't. You say
thing
you
that
have to care about your world, but the only spot you've opened up is the first beginning area here. You still have 1, 2, 3, and you have like another fourth one over here you haven't opened up yet. You complain about like certain maps being like closed off, but then you haven't even gotten into this one that's open right now. You know what I mean?
need to make right is I need to care about your world. And when it's a brand new guy
Check the reviews, Sapphire. Sure. Check recent reviews. All right. Playtime display recent, right? Okay, recent reviews and no minimum, right? So let's do that. Okay, recent reviews, the most recent one. This is today, October 15th. Positive, 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 negative, negative. Positive, positive, negative, positive, 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 negative. Okay, let's load more. I'll humor you. Positive, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, 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 negative, positive, positive, positive. Right? Negative, negative, positive, 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 positive. What else? Like, how far do you want me to go down? And I listened to you. Like, my only thing here is I just did recent, and that's it. I even removed the playtime, by the way, so to no minimum. So I go into the mixed category. You know what I mean? So there you go.
Watch a game. How do you make me
You know the reason why it's like I'm like doing that just to humor you is because of the fact that like I knowing that me myself I'm a PC MMORPG gamer and I prefer my MMORPGs that way. I still know how to look at a game objectively for what it is. And yeah. No, you said negative reviews are under 1 hour. When did I say that? Can you clip it? I'll actually tell you what I said, so you can either choose to live in your ignorance or not. What I said was that if you put it under no minimum and if you put it over like over just over 1 hour, you'll get in mixed. But if you were to put the reviews into the over 10 hour category, you'll get mobile mostly positive. That's what I said. That's it. Like I'm not like that's it. That's all the attention I'm gonna give you because like I'm not gonna keep entertaining red herring after red herring after red herring argument. Okay, so take the L, walk away.
care about this random, seemingly AI generated world and story? You know, it's like here's this random place, this random castle, this random thing. Why do I care about it? And it's hard to do that. It's hard to get this random thing. You know, it's like here's this random place, this random castle, this random thing. Why do I care about it? And it's hard to do that. It's hard to get someone over that edge while also having gameplay because you have to give them insane amounts of story and lore and backstory so that I can care about this world. But
This one, I actually agree with him on this one here. BP's story is definitely not one of its strongest suit, and as a matter of fact, it is one of like the biggest weaknesses it has because of the fact that like it's again, I explained it earlier in my review. The fact that like, you know, you see your characters like mouths moving and there's no sound coming out. They're not really saying anything. The choices that you make in the dialogue is like it doesn't even matter. It doesn't affect the story in any way, shape, or form, or how somebody responds. You can have like multiple choices that you can say to somebody or reply to somebody in the story, and then if you skip it, none of it matters because you get to complete it anyway. Right? So that's something that I entirely agree with him here. The story needs to be good enough for people to actually care about it. I think going into towards like the Winhow territory, with that tribe like story, I think it's the characters start to get a little bit more interesting, sure, but it still needs a lot of work, especially at the very start. Because like if I'm gonna care about your story, if I'm gonna follow the story needs to be good from the very get go. It needs to be very very good from like the very start.
if you're doing that, then I'm not playing and having fun, right? To do those things is very difficult. And so for anyone making an MMO, that task is a Leviathan. And if you look at the games that have succeeded overall as an MMO, there's not a lot of them long term. If you look at World of Warcraft, they already had lore and different classes and factions and things to build on. There was already orcs, there was already paladins, there was already these different characters. Jaina, Proudmoore, all these things exist in the game already, or in the other games, the Warcraft games. And so building an MMO in that world is not the same thing. It makes me want to explore the different areas. If you
Yeah. So here's the thing about story. It is one of the biggest negatives of Blue Protocol, but let's not pretend that WoW or even or even like let's say like League of Legends, one of the best, probably one of the most like famed like lores alongside like WoW and all of them, right? League of Legends story, like people love League of Legends, like people watch Arcane, people love Arcane, but let's not pretend like they all started out really well and really and perfectly. A lot of things were retconned, a lot of things were changed. Um, one of the characters that I mained in like in League of Legends, right, or a few of them actually had their story and backstories changed so much that I don't even know what they are anymore. So that's the whole thing about story. So if we are going to give those games like League of Legends or World of Warcraft a chance to fix their story, change their story, or something like that, then I think while Blue Protocol as of this point in time is completely garbage story, I think we need to, in the same breath, also give them that same chance. You know what I mean?
You look at Final Fantasy XIV, which was already a failure when it first launched. Final Fantasy XIV was a failure.
But again, that's something that I want to tell here is because of I know Final Fantasy 14 has PvP, but for the most part, Final Fantasy 14 is a PvE game for the most part, right? So if you're gonna make a PvE only game, you need to be very very sure that you have a good story, because that's what keeps people invested into it, and that's why, like I said, I actually agree with him in that point, is because of the fact that, like, yeah, you need to make sure that your story is good, you need to make sure that your story is engaging, because if you don't and you're a PvE only game, like imagine let's say like Genshin or like Wuthering Waves. Like I didn't really play too much of Genshin, I played a lot of Wuthering Waves though. So let's say like Wuthering Waves, right? Let's say that if I went into Wuthering Waves, a PvE only game, and the story was shit, I would not be hooked to it. I would not be hooked at all.
They had to delete the game and like take it offline and bring it back. But they had red mages and white mages and blue mages and dragoons and all these different types of characters. They had bosses. They had Bahamut. They had
And I think it's also not just like not fair to compare Blue Protocol to Final Fantasy 14, seeing as like Final Fantasy has had decades of lore and like several games for the IP that they could just pull from. So to judge BP or any new game or any new or relatively new IP to like Final Fantasy, which has had all these levels of like games for the IP and lore and like everything, I mean, it's not even fair, bro.
all these different summons and bosses and monsters and all these different things. It was easier to build that world and care about it, and it was still a failure. So for this game, this MMO, to suck me in, to suck me sideways, to have some fun with the gameplay, to care about the story, to do all these things is already going to be tough. I have been locked out of progression. I have been locked out of playing the game. Nice bug, by the way. Yes, just keep using that ultimate when I'm not in range. Yes, perfect example during the video. Yes, what insane combat.
Expecting insane combat in a mobile MMO that clearly has an auto system, I don't even know what to tell you.
Oh, it's still bugging. This is the combat I've been waiting for. Dude, I'm done. I don't want to play this game. I'll never play this game again. You couldn't pay me to play this game again.
You couldn't pay me to play this game? Brother, you are a content creator. They absolutely could pay you to play this game. Let's not bullshit. From content creator to content creator, they can absolutely pay you to play this game.
Again. So that's where I'm at. Like every other mobile-esque MMO game like this, I just think they are trash. I don't understand why they keep making games like this and think they're gonna pop off. I feel like I played 10 of these and they're just awful. I love the game. I love the game, as you can tell. I don't think it is worth your time. I would not waste your time with this one. I don't know, maybe I'm a hater, but I just don't see it happening. I just don't see it happening. I don't see this game thriving. I don't see it succeeding. If you have fun with it, you do your thing, but wowza. This one is not for me. Thanks for watching. Have a good day, and
Yeah,
I'll see you later.
absolutely. And I think that's fine. Like like a game, if a game is not for you, it's absolutely not for you. Like for example, for me, right? Let's put my own personal opinion. For me, a game like what's a game right like that is like not really for me. Final Fantasy 14, I would say. It's just not like the long story that I have to go through all that stuff. Like the really like rough start with like Black Mage, like playing Black Mage for example, with like really slow start. It's just not for me. But when I did a review for it, did I actually like say that it was a bad game? No, I'm not gonna say a bad game. I'll say it's not for me, but I'm gonna point out certain things that they didn't do well, but I pointed out those things after I actually delved into the game, right? Like I'm not gonna make a review on the life skill and speak on it like I know what's good or bad about it, when obviously like in his case he hasn't even seen a single piece of seen a single piece of like mining or anything in the game at all. So like I would, that's just not something that you do when you're trying to review.
I literally don't know this.
Kinda smell
What the?
like a baka.